Today we're talking about how to expand your business through new market development with Leslie Hassler. So Leslie is a dynamic author, speaker, and business strategist. She guides women-owned service-based businesses into more profits, more cash flow, and more success. And business owners come to Leslie because they're seeking a way to strategically scale their business, stop the money leaks, and get back in control with confidence. So Leslie, we're so excited that you're here with us today. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. You've got such a great lineup of people to get today.
I know, they're super cool. The best part about doing these summits is that you get to interview people that you just want to pick their brain.
I know. That's why I like this. You get to have some fabulous conversations and meet some really talented people.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to jump right into it because I know these interviews go pretty quickly. Business is crazy right now. I really feel like we went to bed one night and we woke up and the whole world was different. And a lot of business owners are trying to figure out how to stabilize and what to do. So what are you recognizing that business owners need to do right now to kind of stabilize their business?
So we are talking, I almost liken it to football. I've got boys in sports, so I spend a lot of time on sport fields. But, there's defensive maneuvers and there are offensive maneuvers. And really defensively, you've needed to look at your finances, make some cuts, have some challenging conversations. You also need to, what I call, control the story. We're human, we relate to stories, and if we don't hear a story, we make one up in our mind. And so, for everyone, you need to be talking to your team, to your clients, to your vendors, and tell them the story you want to hear. And right now, what's really important for them to hear is, I'm here, let me know how I can help, let's get through this together. And you might have some more candid conversations with your team, but you need to have those conversations. So that's kind of a defensive, offensive, depending how you want to look at it. But you really need to be having those conversations right now.
You know what I like about controlling the story too, is that you also need to be careful what stories you let go inside of your head, because I'll tell you, I'm feeling very hopeful about business. Yes, I'm tweaking. Yes, I'm adjusting, but I'm seeing some great things moving and I'm seeing some opportunities out there. And then I get on the news and I see that they're out of money for small business loans. And it's like, everything is terrible. And I have to go pause.
Yeah.
Remember 5 minutes ago when you felt really hopeful and focused and knew where you're going? Let's stick with that story. So I think you have to be proactive about, creating the story and protecting yourself from everybody else's.
Yeah. And I want to frame that because I've been obviously working with my clients and getting those loans. But what I do is also work with bankers and SBA and things like that. That amount that was released, that's the equivalent of 7 years worth of lending. So from a positive standpoint, the fact that 7 years worth of money just came into our economy is tremendous. It is hopeful. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end. It just means that the line is full right now.
Right.
Right. So I think that's really important to understand. And it's almost like sales, right? A no today is not a no forever. Right. And that's truly where we're at. A no today, or it's not going to work today, it does not mean it's a no forever. Like, we need to get over this fatalistic
everything's
viewpoint.
So dramatic. If you are listening to stories online, everything is so dramatic. And if you'll just, I think, have the right conversations with the right people, it's a lot more balanced and it's a lot more hopeful than what we're sometimes seeing online.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said earlier, this surrender, we're not in control of the timeline. We're so not in control of the timeline.
Yeah. It's one of those moments where you look at the things that you can control and you focus on those things. You can control how you show up for your business. So tell us a couple more things that you think they should be looking at to kind of stabilize. And we were talking through the defensive.
Yeah.
Are there more defensive or do you want to shift to offensive?
Well, let's get into offense. We only have a few minutes.
I
So
know.
really and truly, you need to be looking at the pivots in your business. I have one client, for instance, who's in recruiting. Half of her pipeline, 3/4 of the pipeline went away, and half of the active positions got put on hold. That's a
Mhm.
tremendous type of thing because people aren't hiring. The thing is that those clients in those industries aren't hiring, but
Right.
there are other industries that are. So when you look at really getting down to what is the core of what you do, what is the core problem that you solve, why, what is your why, what's your mission, vision, all those nice fun things, what other audience can you tailor it to? You know, in the speaking world, we say, don't change the talk. We just heard this on the webinar, right? Don't change the talk, change the audience. That's
Right.
really what we need to be. One of those pivots that you can do in your business is look at things that are typically recession proof. You know, it's the basics, the distractions, the improvements. You know, there are a long list of recession proof businesses that you can look at. How can you serve those industries now? So it
Mhm.
really is about opening up to a broader spectrum of the people that you could potentially serve.
I completely agree with that. And the other thing I want to add in there too is you might need to serve the people you're currently serving differently.
Yes.
Their problems have changed, their needs have changed. You might need to adjust your packages, your services, your offerings. And I feel like Ross on Friends lately. I'm like, pivot, pivot. We all need to be pivoting right now
Yeah.
because there's no end of opportunities as long as you got problems there. If there is a
Yeah.
problem out there, there's an opportunity to solve it. And I don't know about you all, but I don't feel like we live in a problem free world these days. So we've just got to figure out how to adjust and how to find the best opportunities for our business. I think that's really, really wise.
And then you're right there. And I want to make sure people understand this isn't about giving away everything for free or discount, you know,
Yes.
doing like my one-to-one service, it's an investment, but we get huge returns. That's
Hmm.
not appropriate for everyone. So I've already looked at, okay, here's this level for this person that wants this, here's this level, and here's how I can serve somebody at any level that they're at. That I think
Yes.
is more what you're talking about. But I see so many people
Hmm.
that are going, I can't charge, I shouldn't charge. And that's not necessarily, it's not a great long-term business decision.
Right. Well, and the other thing that I'm very concerned about is the number of sales that I'm seeing popping up because here's the deal with a sale. A sale is going to cut into your profit margin. So it brings in cash, but
Yeah.
not profitable cash. And you can't do sales and sustain that for the next 6 months, So you've got to figure out how can maybe this is my full service, but maybe I can offer phase one of my full service. And
Exactly.
that would make it a more palatable price point that someone can say, yeah, I can do that right now. And that would be helpful for me. So we just have to be willing to look at our business very objectively. So when you look at developing new products and new
Hmm.
services, because some of our clients are going to need to be doing that right now,
Yeah.
where do you begin? Where do you get started?
So again, we go back to the basics. In the case where I gave you with the recruiter, we said, well, who is hiring? Well, the government's hiring. So within 2 weeks, we put in a plan to be able to take care of governmental contracts. We looked at
Love
other
it.
things. Who else is hiring? Healthcare is hiring, right? So when you break down, and you gave some great examples earlier, I've got a good friend that runs 3 restaurants here in town, and she has kids, and her Facebook lives are all about teaching you how to cook the kids.
Uh-huh.
And that those kinds of extensions really are out of the box thinking. I think if you've ever thought, well, that's not the way we do it, that's not how my industry does it, all of those limitations that you've put on yourself in the past, man, bust through them. Be the one
Hmm.
that's going and doing something different. Look at another way to do it. If you want to get really businessy, there's a business model canvas. Redo it for where you've been, and then look at where your new customers, where's your new supply, your vendors, and your partners, and find new ways to do it. I think now, though, is a perfect time to be coming together in community and
Hmm.
collaborating, right? That's what makes things like this so successful. And I feel like our past has been all about do it by myself, and our future really is all about doing it with each other.
I
So,
completely agree. I love collaboration. The other thing that I really want all business owners to understand is you can't wait this out. I see business owners who are just trying to wait it out. Like, well, if we can just get to April 30th, if we can just get to, May 15th, or whatever that new date is. But what's going to happen is we have this first phase of quarantine, which we're in right now.
Yep.
And then we're going to have the second phase, which is we'll still be asked to limit our exposure. We'll still be cautious. People are still, I've got friends who are talking about still homeschooling their kids next fall. And I'm like, oh, please let them go back to school.
I'm with you on that.
They're cautious. And then we're going to have a new norm because consumer behavior will change. Mm-hmm. So everything that you do right now to make your business relevant will help you be so much farther ahead when we go into that new norm. Because I don't know about all of you, but I feel like there's some things during this quarantine that I'm really digging. There's some things that are nice about it. I like the less distractions. I like having more family time. Yeah. I like ordering takeout. There's a lot of things that are nice. And I think that we will find our clients change through this experience. And so you need to get ahead of that. And you can't really just wait out this storm. I don't think you can wait long enough. I think you have to pivot.
And I think to the same extent, you can't work hard enough. Like I see a lot of people that are getting busy and doing all of this energy, almost like the hamster on the wheel that's just gone to turbo mode, right? This isn't about hard work and it's not about waiting and seeing, but you do need to take the steps to actually plan out how you're going to pivot quick. Some of those things you're going to be able to implement right away, implement them, learn from them. Nobody's expecting you to be perfect now. This is such a fabulous time. You can change everything. You can be imperfect and you can change your mind as the economy changes, and nobody's going to be faulting you for it. So take advantage of it and take action. I agree. Wait and see is never a great business strategy.
No. Well, and the other thing I love about you saying take quick action is that I think in the last couple of years, we felt like in order to launch anything new, it needed to be a real perfected, beautiful looking launch. Yeah. Like, I love that your friend who owns a restaurant is just teaching cooking classes with kids. That's wonderful. And I'm sure they're not professional. And I'm sure that she doesn't have a studio coming in and editing. And, it's not the Red Table Talk with Jada Smith. It's just like getting on there and doing something. And what I want you to all hear is that your clients will love it. Like, they'll just be excited to see you. They'll be excited to hear from you. They'll be excited to know that you're still smiling and you're okay. Your clients care about you, and they will, like you're talking about this community. It's a time for us to come together, and people will be forgiving of you putting out good information that doesn't look perfect. I love that.
For sure. Use the partners that you have and really look for the small opportunities. I think we've been trained to look for the big opportunities so much. Don't discount the 1%, because that 1% compounded over time really is where good, solid change comes from.
I love it. I appreciate your hopeful tone and just giving good, solid business advice. I'd love to ask you one more question, which is, what is your best advice that you have for these entrepreneurs with us today?
I'll go back to the take action with a faith and flexibility kind of attitude. Lead with love in everything that you're doing, even the hardest conversations and the conflicts that kind of pop up. And we'll come out of this. I'm with you. We're coming out of this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah. And it's temporary, and anytime you feel like it's getting to be a little bit too much, just remind yourself this is temporary. And I have gotten through many challenges. I will get through this one.
For sure.
So thank you so much, Leslie, for being on with us. Where can our listeners go to connect with you?
Sure. The best place is to go to the smallbizcollaborative.com. So it's smallbizcollaborative.com. In fact, I've got a reboot guide there for anybody that wants a little more step-by-step of how to actually plan pivots and find new products and, take a little action in your business.
Awesome. And I invite you all to go take advantage of that, because there's never been a better time to pivot. And if some of you are like, well, I know I need to pivot, but I need some ideas, she's just offering you a guide to help you figure out what that next pivot looks like.
It's a good one. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we so appreciate you being on. So